Finally, a Mavic Air 2 feature, which we've been waiting for a long time now, and a quick peek at the future update. Future update, why that? I happen to have one of the future firmware updates on the Mavic Air 2 with me today. You can get a sneak peek of what that's going to entail in the future. Hey guys, Felix here with Quadcopterguide, and on this channel I help you get the most out of your drones and other filmmaking gear. Today we're talking Mavic Air 2 and what this latest DJI Fly App update got us. Also a quick peek at the 0.0330 firmware update, which I kind of hinted to in the intro, and why there's so much confusion. As you can tell, it's just slightly windy out here, so I apologize in advance if there's any audio issues. I've got the little dead kitten on the mic. I know it's kind of sad, but that's what they're called. To hope to minimize that, but let's get into it. So if we look at the app right here, you hit the three dots and you can see on the About page, you've got Aircraft Firmware, RC Firmware app version. Now this app version is whichever version the DJI Fly App is. Now on the iOS App Store, the 116 came out just recently, so you want to make sure you grab that version. So some of this stuff that I show you on this screen recording, you're not going to have on yours. And what I think happened is Russ over at 51 Drones, hey Russ, how's it going? If you watch this, he's got 0.0250 for his aircraft firmware up here. Then he pointed to a video from Air Photography, he's got 0.0309 and he's in Canada. So that was kind of confusing. I assumed that I would either end up with one of those. I updated mine and I got 0.0330. Now I'm very confused. Why do we have three different versions? So here's what I think. I think Air Photography and my Mavic Air 2 have an advanced firmware version compared to the public out there, because I believe he, just as we received our Mavic Air 2s early for testing and review. This is my opinion. I think our serial numbers are in a pool of Mavic Air 2s in some spreadsheet, and they send the firmware early to these Mavic Air 2s. And heck, you might be watching this and saying, hey, Felix, I already have 0.330. So, I don't know. What I do know is that the Fly App 116 is available for everybody. Well, I say everybody, but iOS usually comes out one or couple days before the Android version. So if you're waiting out for that Android APK in the Google App Store, then just please be patient. It will get here. Speaking of APKs that'll get here, DJI, where's our smart controller update? Man, I can't wait to get this Fly App on the smart controller running. I digress. All right, so what do we got here? Well, you can see here, if we look at the drone view, a couple things are new. One that everyone's going to get is the new battery life little icon or symbol. You can see here we're at 98% battery life. So some of the circle is red. It doesn't really look like 2% of it, does it? But here, let's see what happens. You can actually tap on this. And since we're not flying, you're not going to get time left until return to home, until forced landing, and until battery depleted. So once we get this thing in the air here in a second, you'll see that update and I'll show you. On the left here, there's a new symbol, and I believe this is what is new in the 0.03 whatever firmwares. I don't think Russ had this with the 0.0250. And also, let me know in the comments down below, which version of Mavic Air 2 aircraft firmware do you have? And when you launched, did you receive a message? Let's get into the good conversation down below and figure this out. Also, let me know what country you're from. Just let's see if this is a kind of a worldwide division of firmware numbers. That'd be really interesting. So this button on the left here, which probably won't work. Oh, it does work on the ground. Safety assistance mode, sideways flight off. Now, when we check this out in the air later, you'll see that it will allow the drone to only go forwards and backwards. And I think DJI enabled this because the Mavic Air 2, of course, doesn't have sensors, obstacle avoidance sensors on the sides like the bigger brother, the Mavic 2 Pro does. So I think that this is kind of a mode that will get people to get into less trouble, and maybe DJI will have to repair less drones. Control. Ta-da, gimbal. Look at that. Look what showed up under gimbal calibration. Advanced gimbal settings. Hold for sound. Turboprop airplane flying overhead. So take a look at this. We've got advanced gimbal settings. We tap on that and ta-da! I've been telling you guys since I've had the beta that this is coming. And today it's really here. Man, that's some sweet hair. I wish the wind was coming from the other side, but it is what it is. All right, so here what we got for normal mode. Pitch speed and pitch smoothness. This is for the gimbal, and we're gonna get the drone in the air and I'll show you guys what all this does. And of course, we also have yaw speed and yaw smoothness. Now this isn't gimbal yaw, even though it's under gimbal settings. This is aircraft yaw. So that's very interesting as well. And look at that. You've got tripod and sport mode where you can set all these settings. So you can have one setting for your super smooth cinematic movements on the tripod mode switch, and then you've got one that's a little bit quicker and sped up for just looking around and looking for locations with the normal mode settings. And then of course you can set the same thing up for sport mode, and then you've got 3 different sets of settings. If you want to know what my settings are and learn more about the Mavic Air 2, then I encourage you to sign up for the Mavic Air 2 resource page. I've got that link down below in the description. If you sign up there, you can get the free Quadcopterguide LUT, which will help your D-Cine-alike footage look great, and all kinds of other stuff. I'll let you know when there's more in-depth training available for this drone. Be sure to check that out. All right, back to this. So that is the big update in the Fly App 1.16, and once again I apologize for the wind noise. Let's get this thing in the air now that the gusts are coming and see what all these settings do. All right, here we go.
Take off. The home point has been updated. Please check it on the map.
Look how rock solid that thing is, man. And it is windy. Check this out. That is like 45-degree angle, and I'm not throwing the grass at all. I'm just letting go. Crazy. Now we're in the air. Let's check out the battery icon. And look at that. We're at 92% total now, which you can see without tapping on it. And we've got 23 minutes and 40 seconds until return to home, 27 minutes until forced landing, and 30 minutes and 30 minutes, we're dropping, until the batteries is completely depleted. Let's call that bottom one never get there status. The number it shows on the top is actually this battery depleted time. So don't count that number that's counting down on the main screen as your flight time, because you want to get back way before then, really. If you're flying over water, better to play it safe. We want to check out the gimbal settings. Let's go to the control tab, and under gimbal we're going to go advanced gimbal settings, and here we've got pitch. So if we set this to 1 and smoothness to 0, we're in normal mode. This is what happens when you use the gimbal wheel on the back. I enabled going higher than horizontal, so we're going up. Now I'm going full deflection to the left, and it's just crawling. Super slow. And I'm going to let go at 0, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm letting go now, and it just stops. All right, so let's go back. Let's do pitch speed. Let's speed it up a little bit so you guys can actually see what effect this does. Let's go 8, and let's go pitch smoothness 30. So now I'm going to pan down. I'm going full deflection, and I'm letting go now. And look, it just keeps going until it's smooth. So let's go pitch speed. Let's speed it up even more. Let's go 100 pitch speed and 30 smoothness. Let's see what that does. So I'm going to pan down. All right, so watch. I'm going to go from 90 degrees, essentially facing perfectly down. I'm going to go top and letting go now. It's just too fast. It went all the way to the max. So watch this. I'm going to flick it just a hair. Here we go. And letting go. So once again, this is just kind of an extreme, and you can see this is not what you want because it's impossible to figure out what you're looking at. So let's try again. Okay, gusts are picking up. The drone is still steady. It's all good. Let's try something a little bit more realistic. 30. And let's do 9. Okay, so you still have decent speed. You can still look around, and then the smoothness just kind of takes that harsh edge off. So for normal flying, this is a pretty good setting. Of course, for tripod mode, you want to set it up a little bit differently. Let's say you want the speed to slow down just a little bit, and you want the smoothness here, let's say that. So for certain shots, I feel this is still too fast, but if you don't feel like checking out what settings I have, then just got to kind of play around with it. Each person has a different way they move the little jog dial here. If you move it just a little bit, the gimbal moves a little bit. If you hold it all the way to the edge and you're kind of a digital kind of gimbal operator, digital meaning just full or nothing, ones and zeros, then it just depends on your style. So that's pretty cool. So let's check it out here. Let's set this to 1515, and let's check out yaw. So yaw we've got set to 75 and 5. So let's see what that does. So I'm using the left stick on the remote. Okay, so it's quite direct and quite fast. And there's a slight amount of smoothing. So let's do smoothness to 100 and see what happens. Okay, quite frankly, this looks the same to me. Is it really just gimbal? Yeah? Okay, interesting. So what happens if we remove the smoothness? Okay, I feel a more abrupt movement. Let's do the speed to 20. Okay, so it does affect the aircraft yaw. Very interesting. I just really couldn't tell a difference between yaw smoothness of 1 and 30. What about 100? Okay, so I guess it does smooth it. It's just not as big of a smoothing effect as on the gimbal movements. So we can change yaw speed and smoothness. All right, so what does this look like in practice? Got the camera set to auto. Let's see if we can do some manual. Let's change the ISO to 100. Shutter to 1/50th. We're too dark. I'm trying out the new Polar Pro variable ND filters today. Thanks B for sending those out to me. And I chose the one that is 6 to 9 stops. And of course the sun is behind a cloud right now, so it's just too strong. Curious to see when the sun comes out from behind the clouds, if this is the right filter for right now. And it's pretty cool. You can just twist the front of the filter. There's clear laser etched markings, so you know if it's 6, 8, 9 stops. How's our battery life doing? We got 72% battery life. Let's do some recording, shall we? All right, so that was the gimbal smoothness settings. Let's check out what this sideways sensor business has about it. Now, once again, you'll get this in version 0.03 whatever. If you have 0.0250, you will not see this. So let's check this out. Based on my settings, which you can see here, I expect the drone to brake. And look at that, it's braking. The phone is vibrating, and I'm getting a red highlight. Okay, so that's with brake. Works as designed, so let's do bypass. Record this for fun. And look at that, we're now a little bit overexposed. Thank you, clouds. All right, here we go. So that was bypass to the top. So what happens if it's a little bit lower? Bypass to the side. Let's try with the flight assistance off. Oh, you gotta be super careful because this is gonna run you into you. So it will beep as it hits the obstacle. So let's try bypass with the side, and I'm gonna disable sideways flight. That's the same thing as this icon here, with the arrows to the front and back. So we've got sideways flight off with bypass. The drone will still go around me, watch. This time to my right. But using the sticks, I can't make it go sideways. So I can't force it to go fly into an object. And if it thinks it's clear enough, or if the drone sees that there's no other obstacles, it'll still fly around the object. Okay, so only when you're using obstacle avoidance with this obstacle avoidance action and flight assistance, there's the option to disable sideways flight. So that's pretty cool. So there you have it, the DJI Fly App 1.1.6 update and what the future firmware update for the Mavic Air 2 will entail if you don't already have it right now. So the Fly App 1.16 is available to everybody right now, iOS first, and Android will be up probably by the time you guys watch this. The Mavic Air 2 firmware, on the other hand, let me know in the comments down below, like I said, which version you have and what country you're in. Let's see if we can establish a pattern on this. So I'm on 0.0330 and I'm located in Germany right now. I've got a EU model Mavic Air 2. Let me know down below if you've got North American or Canadian or whatever version. Hey, if you enjoyed this video or you learned something new, then give this video a like. It really does help out the channel. And of course, for more content on drones and other filmmaking gear, don't forget to subscribe. In the meantime, check out some of these other videos. This one's good, but you should definitely check out this one. Can't wait to see you guys in the comments and in the next video. See you guys.